Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, GamingGang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, June 20th, 2023. This is live stream 934. If you're not overly familiar with this show, let me point out it's super casual around here. We are certainly not engaged in any sort of rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. No, we're just talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news and usually taking a first look at a game. But tonight, as I have throughout the month of June, I am going to do something a little bit different. I am going to share a review. That's right. And I am going to be reviewing Dog Park from Birdwood Games. So we are going to be diving on in. I will give you a bit of a brief how to play and then share my thoughts about this family-friendly game of professional dog walkers. If you are tuning in for my review of Dog Park, let me point out we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first. So that means it's probably going to be about 40 minutes before I get into the how to play and review. So if you're watching live, kick back, relax, take it easy, be good to yourself. If you happen to be watching 30 minutes or more after this stream ends, well, there will be timestamps. There will not be blood, but there will be timestamps. I don't know why I like saying that. I think that's the second time I've used that kind of wonky line. There will be blood. So that's one of those movies where it's like, wow, this acting is spectacular. I do not like the actual movie itself. It's one of those, at least for me, it's one of those cases where it's like, wow, tremendously filmed. Oh my gosh, the acting is just amazing. And it's one of those movies where it's kind of like, the point of making this was, what? Kind of like Leaving Las Vegas. That's another movie that I'm kind of like, man, the acting is just awesome. It's kind of like, I watched that movie. I've only watched it once, and it wrapped up, and I just felt kind of skeevy. Felt like I needed to take a shower, even though it's not like, he's just ruining his own life. Anywho, if you watch this 30 minutes or more after the stream ends, there will be timestamps. So if you want to jump ahead into the review, by all means you can. And those timestamps might even be located right in the timeline on the device you happen to be using to watch the show. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for our latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the Gaming Gang channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live stream, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. Yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. So, first out the gate tonight is the Motor City Madman himself. No, not Ted Nugent. It's the Madman. Yes, one of our chat moderators is joining us, and he was first out the gate. We have Roger Perdome, Stray Kismet, Disavow 92, Testy Trekkie, Nero's Fiddle, Flaming Heron, who is another of our chat moderators, is with us, as is Kathy Evans. So chat is off and running. Tessie Trekkie says, something's cooking. I'm at the griddle. I brought Nero his very first fiddle. I tell you. All right. So welcome, everybody. So I do not have a sponsor this week, but I do want to mention, I will mention this a few times through the show. In fact, every 3 minutes, I will. The game sale has kicked off. That's right. I mentioned it last week because of some improvements and replacement parts that had to be used for the computer that I used to actually stream this show. Took a chunk of funds out of my pocket that I was using for our coverage of San Diego Comic-Con as well as Gen Con this year. So I am doing another game sale, and there were altogether over 200 items as part of the sale. It has launched. It is live. You can find it by going over to thegaminggang.com. And so far, I've actually sold about 40 items. So, yeah, not too shabby, not too shabby. So I know there were quite a few folks who were kind of curious about the sale. Well, it is now live, so you can check that out. All right, moving right along. Let's jump on into the news because arriving from WizKids in August is Americana. And here's the skinny. Pack your bag and grab your journal. It's time to trek through the 1930s American wilderness. Wander the rural landscape and discover opportunities and threats unknown, friend and foe, cute and dangerous wildlife, and the mysteries of unexplored terrain, ominous abandoned buildings, and even the supernatural. You'll look back at these experiences and grow from them, gaining new skills, as well as inspiration from the lands you've visited. You'll record these memories in your journal as a testament to your grand adventure. Until next time. In Americana, you travel to new locations, collecting stories and constructing havens along the way. A hungry cougar, a lost lumberjack, an ancient burial ground, a foggy swamp. These are many things in the wilderness, and you decide how to interact with them. Use memories and inspiration to record story cards in your journal to document your adventures and score points. The object of Americana is to collect the most points by establishing havens across the land and writing about your travels. Will you have the most exciting story to tell after your adventures? Americana is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. Plays around 90 to 120 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $39.99. I am really interested in this because it's almost, I don't know if you're supposed to be kind of a hobo. I mean, it's very, very possible, right? It's 1930s. Talking about the heart of the Depression. So I'm kind of curious. And it almost looks like it might have a little bit of the Lost Expedition vibe going on. It appears to be far more detailed than that because the Lost Expedition is is pretty easy to play. It's not easy to survive, but it is easy to learn how to play. But this sort of gives me that same sort of vibe, and I really do like the Lost Expedition. Unfortunately, WizKids is famously stingy as far as review copies. I have never, in 13 years of covering the hobby, ever gotten a review copy from WizKids. So I stopped asking years ago. But still, from time to time, they've got something intriguing that I stumble across, and I share the news, even though I won't get to review this. The man said they need to take a better look at what's available in the sale. Yeah, there's got to be about 170 things still available. And I am going to run the sale. I think, if I remember right, I think I indicated like the 15th of July. So you got a little bit of time. But it is first come, first served. So if somebody lays dibs to something and they, obviously pay, then that's it. It's one and done. On to the next news piece. The English language edition of Mists Over Carcassonne is arriving from Z-Man Games, also in August. Here's what I know. Mists Over Carcassonne is a cooperative version of the well-known tile-laying game, you guessed it, Carcassonne. Working together, you place tiles and score points while trying to stop the spread of ghosts, contain haunted grounds and cemeteries, and use haunted castles to your advantage. Too many ghosts are on the loose on the ground, or you've collected too few points when the tiles run out, you lose the game. If you do manage to survive 3 days, you can adjust the difficulty level of the game to increase the challenge. Mists Over Carcassonne includes 45 meeples in 2 new types and 60 tiles, which will match the graphics of the 2021 edition of Carcassonne. This game includes rules for how to incorporate material in a regular competitive game of Carcassonne. Mists of Carcassonne is for 1 to 5 players, ages 8 and up, plays in around 35 minutes, and this will carry an MSRP of $39.99 when it hits stores in August. And as I have pointed out time and time again, I'm a huge fan of Carcassonne. I really enjoy original Carcassonne, and I feel that it is a perfect gateway game for people of all ages. In fact, the first modern board game I played with my mom is Carcassonne, and she loved the game. So I have not played it with her in quite a while, but I think next time I go over to visit her, I might bring it with. I might bring that with. So let's talk about some role-playing game news, because now available in print for 5e D&D is The Islands of Sinauna. Here's the latest from Hit Point Press. Bakunuala rose from the sea, her scaled and slick and massive form rising up over cities and mountains, her teeth glistening and her eyes filled with desire, and she opened her mouth wide. The moon, Mayari, looked on as the celestial eater grew closer and closer, stopped only when Helia arrived and struck the great serpent with her sword. Helia's mask reflected the warrior goddess's rage as she fought the serpent back into the sea, forcing it to retreat. It would only be a matter of time before an attempt on the moon's life would be made again, be it Bakunuala or one of the other celestial eaters. And as she laid to rest, she knew both herself and the mortal races would need to be ready. The Islands of Sinauna is a new campaign setting for 5th edition that pulls from pre-colonial mythology and culture of the Philippines. In the time since Bakunawawa's last attack, the mortal races that inhabit the island recover slowly as life goes on. Well, some do battle with the monsters that roam these lands. Others work as intermediaries, communicating between spirits and deities to help protect and guide their people. And yet, there are still others who choose to align with the terrible celestial eaters to destroy the moon and bring about the end of all things. What role do you play in a world of mortals, spirits, and monsters? This includes 2 new base classes, 12 new subraces, I should say subclasses, not subraces. But there are new subraces, don't get me wrong. There are new backgrounds, spells, and magic items, 50 new monsters, as well as new travel rules for boats. The 250 plus page hardcover of the Islands of Sinauna is making its way into stores, and it does carry an MSRP of $49.99. Interesting. I gotta say, if I remember right, Hit Point Press makes I think it's called Humblewood setting for 5e that I have heard very good things about, even though it is anthropomorphic animals. It is, as far as I understand, anthropomorphic animals in their natural setting, as opposed to it's like, oh, look at the anthropomorphic rabbit that lives in that castle on a cloud. Yeah. But Hit Point Press does some pretty impressive looking releases for 5e. This is the latest. And I gotta say, very interested that it draws from the pre-colonial, important distinction there, folklore of the Philippines. Very nice. Very nice. So Kevin R. Smith is with us in chat. Howdy, Kevin. Good to see you. Moving right along, the highly anticipated Pirate Borg, actually should be Pirate Bing, is available in PDF from Free League Publishing. Here's the latest. Pirate Borg is a scurvy-ridden, rules-light, art-heavy tabletop role-playing game inspired by history, fantasy, horror, and rum. Your cutlass and flintlock won't save you from the hordes of skeletons, the Kraken, or even your own crew. Pirate Borg is a complete game based on and compatible with the award-winning Doom Art Punk RPG, Mirkberg, or as some of you out there refer to it, Morkborg, using their incredible third-party license. But it is also a toolkit. Most of the tables can be hacked and used with any tabletop role-playing game. This game is about being a greedy, filthy scoundrel. Scoundrel. I like the sound of that word. Find a ship, recruit some crew, raid, pillage, plunder, and otherwise pilfer your Weasley black guts out. Get a bigger ship. Kill some things. Upgrade your ship. Sneak into a fort. Raid a port. Acquire treasure. Bury said treasure. Become infamous. Search for someone else's treasure. Flee in terror from unfathomable creatures from the deep. Drink all of the rum. Die on high seas. Roll up a new character and do it all again. Included in the 166-page book are complete rules based on and compatible with the award-winning Mirkberg. There are 8 character classes, easy-to-learn naval combat rules, stats for 18 vessels, over 80 NPCs and monsters, over 90 system agnostic tables, as well as The Curse of Skeleton Point, a sandbox style adventure with 11 pirate themed locations. The 166 page PDF is available right now. I think it arrived today. And you can score it for $19.99. I believe the hardcover is going to arrive, I think it's in August. So I do believe that will carry an MSRP of $39.99 is kind of my stab on that. But I actually got the review copy of the PDF. So my pals over at Free League Publishing sent that along. I have not had an opportunity to take a peek at it because it just arrived today, as this also arrived on Drive-Thru RPG. And I double checked because it is not unusual for me to get a PDF from, it's usually either Free League or Cubicle 7, and the PDF's not actually available yet. But it's on Drive-Thru for publishers to share with reviewers and content creators. So, gotta say, I'm interested. I believe the author of this is pretty well known for doing like naval-inspired maps. I could have swore I ran across that. Tessie Trekkie says, Pirate Borg is awesome. Buy it, buy it. Did Tessie Trekkie read this already, or are they just being paid to shill Pirate Borg in chat? Teasing. I'm joking. William Helhezaius is with us. Good to see you, William. Let's move right along. Available in print and PDF from Onyx Path Publishing. Now, wait a second here. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's okay. It's right. News story. I'm actually jumping into the future because there's a news story I've already prepared for tomorrow's show that for some strange reason I was thinking was next, but it's not. Available in print PDF from Onyx Path Publishing is Exalted Essence. Here's the scoop. Chosen by the gods, their power tempered only by human hearts, the Exalted are all that stand between creation and the forces that would ruin the world. Set in a rich and intriguing setting that draws from real-world histories and fantasy archetypes, Exalted has thrilled players across 3 editions. Exalted Essence is a streamlined version of Exalted 3rd Edition, designed to welcome new players and reintroduce old friends to the world of creation. It contains all the mechanics and advice players and storytellers need to run complete games of Exalted Essence. Though setting material and character, place, and creature ideas can be supplemented by the core line's content. All the material in this book is compatible with Exalted 3rd Edition, so new and established fans can collect the core line's books and use them with a beginner-friendly and less mechanically dense system. Inside, you'll find rules for creating all 10 Exalt types: Solars, Dragon-Blooded, Lunars, Exigents, Sidriels, Abyssals, Infernals, Gedemions, Liminals, and Alchemicals. Yes, all those chemicals. There's a brief overview of creation, so players and storytellers can dive right in. Rules for universal and Exalt-specific charms, artifacts, martial arts, sorcery, and necromancy, and more. There's advice, and it's for playing and running Exalted with mixed parties or same Exalt parties in multiple interesting styles of play. Exalted Essence is not a revision to the Exalted 3rd Edition system, nor is it an outright replacement. Instead, Exalted Essence provides an alternate framework to interact with the characters, setting, and story of Exalted. Where the Exalted 3rd Edition game features a robust system of mechanics and rewards system mastery, Exalted Essence streamlines that system, shifting focus to the characters and stories. It's kind of interesting. So, Exalted 3rd Edition is more focused on just mechanics and dice rolling. I don't know. I don't know. Exalted Essence paints in bold, bright colors, showcasing epic tales of action, intrigue, and heroism, whereas Exalted 3rd Edition delves deep into the details, allowing you to examine individual brushstrokes and each thread of the tapestry. The 388-page Exalted Essence is available in hardcover, standard hardcover, I should say, over at Drive-Thru RPG for $59.99, or you can grab the PDF alone over at Drive-Thru RPG for $29.99. Tessie Trekkie says, Exalted 3rd Edition is mechanically dense. The system is super dense. I don't know anything about it. My assumption would have been, it uses the storyteller system or the story path system, which, to be very honest, I can't recall ever reviewing a release from Onyx Path Publishing. Sammy does review some of the Onyx Path stuff. So, I mean, granted, yes, I had Vampire the Masquerade when it came out. I had quite a few of these splat books, but I didn't fall into the, World of Darkness. I got to have all 50 different games or anything like that. So I had always thought that this was sort of their fantasy setting, but I guess it's not. Maybe it's kind of a super heroic setting. But as far as the mechanics, not a clue. But I do find it interesting that it's the same setting, same game world. That's all the same, just two different games, two different mechanical systems from the same publisher. Find that kind of interesting. All righty then, that is the news for tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit Drive-Thru RPG or Storyteller's Vault or Wargame Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, whatever, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, give it a quick thumbs up. And if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always stop on by paypal.me/thegaminggang and make a small donation. And thankfully, there are a good number of people who use those banner ads and or visit paypal.me. So that's what keeps me around. So that, and I get advertisers once in a while. We had 2 weeks in a row with the sponsor on the show. I'm feeling faint. And of course, if you're tuning in a little bit late, I do have the game sale that just launched on, I I think it was Saturday night I rolled it out. Was it Sunday? It's only been a few days. So you've got about 3 weeks to take part. It is first come, first served. I know quite a few of you out there in chat have purchased things from me in past sales. So you know, for the most part, the vast majority of them are in pristine condition. So there's some good deals too. Tessie Trekkie says that with Exalted, you start with a D10 dice pool, add multiple rule exceptions to the roll, changing dice pool size, target number, roll again number, then add more rule exceptions about how the damage is rolled. No, thank you. I will pass. Like the quarterback said, I think I'll pass. So Kevin says, yep, the second you start changing anything besides dice pool size, those kind of systems get too complicated unless you can do the binomial, what is it? Binomial function in your head? I don't even know what the hell that word was, let alone the math. All righty. So, well, we got to zip through the news at a fairly rapid pace. And of course, I am going to be sharing my review of Dog Park in just a few minutes. But I do want to talk about last night, I kicked off Call of Cthulhu, Masks of Nyarlathotep with the gang, including Elliot Miller. And we were able to finish up the Peru prologue. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to discuss what happened as far as like story wise, but I did trim a little bit out because they were getting close to the conclusion, but it would have been like 1:00 in the morning, and I kind of wanted to get out of there like 11:30 ish. So, but it was funny. The reason why I mentioned this is because I was driving home, and I'm thinking, oh man, I could have done that a whole lot better. Boy, I don't know. Kind of kicking myself and thinking, I should have done this when they were doing this. And so, because we had wrapped up so late, we didn't really, discuss like after game session kind of thing. Which when I run Call of Cthulhu, I know a lot of times with game masters when they run various different RPGs, after the adventure's over, they like to tell the players, "Hey, this is what was going on behind the scenes, and this and that, and oh, you missed this or whatever." That's not the way I operate, especially with Call of Cthulhu. So if they missed something or there was something that, or maybe it's something that they're like, oh yeah, I think we've pieced it together, and it's kind of like, oh no, I say nothing. So anyway, I checked with the gang today, and I'm like thinking, are they gonna be like, yeah, it was all right. No, they were like, oh, it was awesome. Oh, what were we playing again? What are we gonna? I'm like, supposed to be July 3rd. If it's if it works with Elliot, I'm like July 3rd. So I called Elliot, and he's like, so when are we gonna play again? He's like, oh man, I had a great time. And I said, oh, we're gonna play July 3rd if it works. He goes, oh yeah, okay, it's going in my calendar. I was like, okay. So we had a good time. It was a little bit odd because, I don't know, with about an hour or so to go, my nephew's friend came over who wasn't going to play, but he wanted to observe because he wanted to find out what was this game. And it wasn't just finding out what is this game. It was like, what is role playing? And it's kind of like, you've never heard of Dungeons and Dragons? So it was kind of strange to be running the game and then having somebody like just sitting there. And there were a couple of times they're like, oh. And I was like, you're not playing. You're not a player here. You cannot say anything. So Flaming Around asks, yes, what is role playing, Jeff? Well, Flaming Huron, sit back and I will educate you. I almost said edumacate because that's kind of my dumbass. Don't you have any education? What are you, ignorant? So I always joke about if I were ever to write a role playing book. The whole section where it'd be like, what is a role-playing game? I just put the book that's currently in your hands. The Man says, my Savage Worlds game Friday was hilarious. A character blew up a door with a fire-based power. Latrine was on the other side. Resulting explosion wounded 3 characters. Little methane gas going on. Yeah, there was some pretty funny wisecracks and stuff like that during the game. Although, once again, if you're not familiar with the prologue that is in the latest edition of Masks of Nyarlathotep, it takes place in Peru. And it's a little bit of a slow burn. And there was, kind of kidding around and cracking wise until the sanity roll started, and it was like, "Tain't no joking around from them anymore." They're like, oh. So I had a good time. Nero's Fiddle says, we don't need no book learning. All righty then. So we're going to dive on into Dog Park in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Anytime the going gets too hectic, it's a good idea to stop for refreshment. And what could be more refreshing than delicious, ice-cold Coca-Cola?
I've got 5 aces. Can you beat that? I've got a can of Wilkins coffee. Nothing beats Wilkins.
It was awfully nice of the big bad wolf to enjoy a nice Coca-Cola with Little Red Riding Hood and Granny before murdering them. Alrighty. So tonight I am going to share a bit of a how to play as well as my review of Dog Park from Birdwood Games. It's designed by Lottie and Jack Hazel with art and graphic design provided by Kate Avery, Holly Exley, and Dan May. The game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. Plays around 40 to 80 minutes. Does carry an MSRP of $59.99 for the standard edition. And before we jump on in, let's say hello to Kevin King and Quantum Phase Dragon. They're both hanging with the gang tonight. All right, so let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got kind of set up Dog Park. So when I kind of discuss up in the corner here, which we're really not missing a whole lot, I will actually kind of blink out for a couple of moments. So Dog Park is a lightweight, actually, in my opinion, this is a pretty good gateway game. Nice way to introduce people to the hobby. Although I will also point out that I think this game is going to be loved by some people, tolerated by some people, and intensely disliked by other people. So we're going to talk about some of these things as well. So in essence, each of the players is a professional dog walker. And they are looking to get the best clientele, the best dogs, and also boost their reputation. So whoever's got the highest reputation, essentially victory points, at the end of 4 rounds of play is going to be the winner. Now, one of the things that really stands out about Dog Park is the production quality is fantastic. It is really, really nicely done. Kind of give you an idea. So this is one of those sort of games that has a lot of custom containers and things like that. So this is for the resources and some other tokens. We actually have 2 because we have quite a few extras. We have a really nice insert. Let me grab the box here and do my best not to mess up what I've got set up. But as you can see here, really, really well done. And then these are the player boards. So places for the different cards. There are a slew of dog cards. Strangely enough, there are so many dog cards. I don't know why they have so many outside of just the fact that the designers wanted to share a lot of various different dog breeds in the game. So what you're going to do is you are going to look to recruit. So you're going to be adding dogs to your kennel. And then you're going to select what dogs you're going to take out for a walk in the park. And then finally, you're going to return home. So you're going to repeat that process 4 times. So just to kind of once again give you an idea of the production quality, first of all, just show you the rules. Now, I did a full unboxing video on a live episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch. So I will actually link to it if you want to get a closer look at a lot of the dog cards. Obviously, I did not share every single one of them, but I shared quite a few of them. A good number, I guess I will say. So this is how you're going to set up. So you're going to have your player board. So this is where you're going to keep your resources, as well as the 3 dogs you take for a walk. And then underneath, you're going to have a tableau of up to 8 dogs. So you can have up to 8 dogs in your kennel. Now, playing with 3 or 4 players, not really much as far as a change in how the game is played. There are some different wrinkles to a 2-player game, and I will talk about that once I kind of go through what the process is of playing a 3 or 4-player game. There is also solitaire as well. So you're going to set up, and you're going to take your dog card deck, which is only half, because here's the other half. You're going to shuffle all these cards together, and then you're going to separate it into 2 roughly equal stacks, and then you're going to remove one of them from play. Like, okay. I thought that was a little odd that you're going to shuffle up all of these cards. You'll get a closer look at the dog cards, though. So you're going to take the remaining cards, the half of the supply. You're going to put them over here. And then you're going to place 4 cards in a 4-player game, 3 cards in a 3-player game, 3 cards in a 2-player game. I'll explain that a little bit too in just a bit. And these are the dogs which are in the field. So nobody owns these. Or I should say, no dog walker has contracts to walk these dogs. Somebody owns them. So what you're going to do is you're going to look to recruit these dogs. So that is going to be the recruit phase. And everybody's going to start off with some reputation. So you're going to find that you spend reputation. There's various ways you can lose reputation. So if you're someone who is, not too keen on losing victory points for various different things, it might rub you wrong. But to me, it's sort of like the victory points are just, or I should say reputation points, are just simply another form of currency. So what each of the players are going to do once you have your first player, and this is your first player token. It's like, is Snoopy sitting up on top? Like I said, everything is just so well done as far as the various different components. So you're going to set that out. This is actually the park. I'll talk about the park when we get to the walking portion. We have a location deck, which you're going to flip over a card each round, and you're going to follow the instructions on the card as far as special bonuses that are going to be available in the park. So we're going to have that. Then we have this small deck of cards, which is the Breed Expert deck. So you're going to just shuffle that up, and then you're going to lay them down. And what this is whatever player has the most of each of these breeds at the end of the game is going to score this number of reputation points. So it's going to change every game. It's going to be a little bit different. Flaming Heron says they just really love their dogs. That's why there's so many dog cards. Well, I would take a guess. It probably got to the point where it was like, well, if we don't put XYZ breed in, then people who are owners of that dog are going to be like, hey, you have this dog in here. Why don't you have my kind of dog in here? So that's a possibility. Right. So you're going to have that. And this is basically end of game. And they're going to stay in this order. There's no way to rearrange the order of these. Then we also have forecast cards, which each round there's going to be something special that's available during that round. So as an example, in our third round, during home time, which is the final phase of your turn, dogs without a walked collar token do not lose a reputation point. And I'll explain what that means in just a few moments. But that's only in effect for the third round of the game. So, and as you move through the rounds, you're just going to flip them over. So I thought that was another interesting aspect that makes each game unique. Then we also have we have two different kinds of objectives. We have experienced and standard. So if they consider themselves to be an experienced player of Dog Park, they'll probably go with the experience because it actually gives them a bigger bonus. But it's like most games, you're going to have a secret objective. So each of the players is going to receive one standard and one expert or experienced. And they get to choose one of the two, and that is the objective that they will have. So as an example, a standard would be capable collector. During final scoring, gain 3 reputation points if you've won at least 2 breed expert awards in a 4-player game, or 3 breed expert awards in a 2 and 3-player game. So that would be your objective that you're trying to achieve. So that's kind of the layout here. We also have the various different resources. So these little collar tokens show that the dog has been walked. We have sticks. We have balls. We have treats. And then we have Great Cthulhu. It's a squeaky toy. But I have to laugh. It's like, oh, look, it's a little Cthulhu head. Look at that. So these are our resources. And then we've got some things that we might end up putting out here in the park based on our location deck. All right, so let's dive on in to actually playing the game. And I'll kind of play it as if there's 4 players. So you're going to start off and you have the recruit phase. So you're going to repeat this twice. Well, I should say you're going to do it twice. You're going to repeat it once. So each of the players is going to select a number of reputation points they are willing to spend to recruit one of the dogs. Now, one of the things you want to keep an eye on is, of course, the different breeds. So as far as the cards for the dogs, we have what is the breed? And of course, this is a pastoral. So that's going to count towards that breed expert, although unfortunately, it is the last place of the breeds in this game. We have artwork of the dog. Artwork throughout is really, really nicely done. Flaming Heron says, Cthulhu is not amused. They are not a squeaky toy. No, they're a screechy toy. So, and once again, artwork is just, it's fantastic. It's really, really nicely done. So we also have, what is it going to cost in resources to take this dog for a walk? And here it would be a treat and a squeaky toy. So a lot of the dogs have some sort of special ability or something that's going to be added to your score at the end of the game. And you're going to want to kind of keep track of these. Some of them will actually almost like build on like an engine building aspect. Not a lot of cards do that, but there are some. So as an example here, this is a pack dog. During final scoring, gain 2 reputation for each pastoral dog in your kennel. So if somebody has the Welsh Corgi, then they're probably going to be looking at trying to get more pastoral dogs. So we have toys. So here it says crafty. During selection, when you place this dog on the lead, which is here, you may discard 1 wild resource to gain 1 stick. So the sticks and balls tend to be less valuable than the treats and the toys. So here we have a hound. Same ability actually here as the toy. And then we have the terrier, which is, once again, final scoring, get 2 reputation for each. Well, I should say this is for each leftover squeaky toy you assign to this dog with a max 6. So you can give the squeaky toys to this dog to score extra victory points or reputation points, I should say, at the end of the game. So what you're going to do is you're going to spend reputation and you're going to secretly select how much you want to bid. So Flaming Heron says, were the Queen's dogs not Welsh Corgis? I think they were. In fact, there's little flavor text about all the dogs on the bottom. It's actually pretty cool. Like, Elizabeth Taylor loved this breed of dogs and stuff like that. So each of the players is going to bid secretly. And then once they've selected an amount, they are going to take their dog walker and place it below the dog that they want to recruit. Now, multiple people can recruit the same dog, and whoever's going to have the most reputation points that they bid to get that dog will be the winner. So in a case of a tie, because what you actually do is, let's say the blue player, purple, what have you, wanted that dog as well. So, and they both bid the same amount. The person who was there first is actually going to claim that dog. So what'll happen is if you lose out on getting one of the dogs and you're sitting here, everybody else has dogs, there's like a dog left, you can get it. It only costs you 1 reputation. So it's kind of funny. You always want to make sure you got some reputation you can spend. You don't want to be sitting there with 0 reputation because it'll tie your hands. So if you have 0 reputation, you can't take part in the recruitment phase of the game during that round. So you're going to have a far, far smaller kennel than other players. So as an example, let's say I had recruited, we'll go with the Welsh Corgi. So they would be in my kennel. So these got picked by the other players. So you're going to refill this again. And let's say that cost me the 2 reputation. Yeah, let's see, it ends up like that. So we're going to do that again. So everybody's going to go and they're secretly going to select how much they want to bid. And then they're going to go and place. And of course, whoever's the first player gets to go first. And this will rotate around the table during each turn. So, or I should say at the end of each turn. So everybody will have an opportunity to be the first player in a 4-player game. So also, you may notice here that I've got this token as well as the ball here. That's because we have the location card that we're going to select, as I mentioned before, at the beginning of each turn. And it shows us what little bonus to put out there. So as an example, let's say we've all got our dogs. Let's say I've got this one. So I just want to show you what's going on with my kennel and my lead. So once we've gone through the recruitment phase, we're going to move to the selection phase, which is where you're going to select the dogs you're going to take for a walk. So you can have up to 3. And to be able to walk them, you're going to have to pay your resources. So I just happen to have these resources because this is what you start off with. So I am going to pay the Great Cthulhu squeaky toy and my treat to take the corgi for a walk. And then I will pay the 2 balls to take the pointer, which is a gun dog. I don't know, he doesn't look like he's packing heat. Taking him for a walk. So as the first player, so once everybody's done their selections, they've paid their various different resources, everybody starts getting ready to walk their dogs. You're always going to make sure you fill this out, though, because you can actually, you will have opportunities to change these. Flaming Heron said, but they want all the dogs. You'll have a kennel of 50 at the end of the game. So I'm the first player, so I get to choose up to 4 spaces I can move walking these dogs. So if I move here, I get a stick. If I move there, I get a ball. If I move there, squeaky toy. That gets me the treat. And then normally, this only has the scout. So it's an action. It's an action. And what you can do is you can take a look at the next 2 cards in the deck and choose one of the cards to replace one of the dogs in the field. And then they're discarded. So if you replaced it, you're going to discard that. And then the leftover card, you will also discard. So that's what the scouting is. We also have the swap, which is kind of hard for some people to wrap their heads around because it just seems weird. But if you have this action, which you know is right, notice is right there, it allows you to take a dog from your kennel. It cannot be something on the lead. It's got to be in your kennel. And you can swap them for one of the cards in the field. I guess you're a dog napper now. So yes, that was something that just about everybody who I played this with commented it. They're like, what are you, stealing dogs? I'm going to steal this dog, but it's okay. It's not stealing because I'm replacing it with this dog. I guess what it's essentially supposed to be is you're like switching clientele. is really what it is. All right. So anyway, so those are the actions there. Now, of course, you'll see that we've got multiples. These earn you a reputation point. And then you see here, we've got a leaving bonus. So once the first player goes through the park, you're going to go in order. So the first player to leave the park with their dogs, having walked their dogs, is going to get 3 reputation points, 2 reputation points, 1 reputation point. And if you're last out of the park, it's -1. So in a way, you're going to sit there and you're going to have to kind of balance how many resources you want to get, as opposed to, do you want to be the last one out of the park? Myself personally, I don't think this is that big a deal. I'm a firm believer in take your time, get the resources. But when you're the last player, then you have to leave. You can't just sit there going, okay, well, I'm going to move here and then here and then here. If you are the last player that's still out in the park, you get moved to the last out of the park. So you get to decide, okay, so here I am going to move for the squeaky toy. Okay, so I'm going to add that resource. And then they decide they're moving 4 and they want to move 2. Now, another aspect is if you want to go to the same space that somebody else is already on, you can, but you have a couple of choices. So one, you can just move there and that's fine. There you are. And it's, that's it. You're not going to get that bonus that's in that spot. Or you can spend a reputation point and get that bonus as well. So once you get to this point here, you can choose a path. You can either stay down here or you can go up here. As you can see, this is more about collecting those resource points. And here it's more about collecting those treats, those resources. So in a situation here, if that player moved to here, well, actually, I'm the first player. If I decide I'm moving there next, I can either take the scout and swap, or I can go up here, get the ball and stick, and I would take it from the supply if I did that. I would not take it from here because it's a bonus that's available to everybody if they're going to pay. So let's say we all went through there, right? They're second out. There we go. So we're all walking 2 dogs at this point. So I would get, as the first one out, I get 3. And then you get 2 points for each dog you walked. So right there's the 4. Once you've walked the dogs, and you can actually put this on as soon as you select them to go out. You're going to put these little collar tokens on to show that they have been walked. Reason why you do that is because if you have any dogs in your kennel that have not been walked, it's -1 reputation point because you're not walking the dogs. But interestingly enough, once you walk them, they stay walked. So the dogs that you walked in the first turn, the 4th turn comes along and you're wrapping up the game, they still count as being walked. So I thought that was a little odd. You would think that maybe you would actually remove these walked tokens on the following turn. I don't know. I'm just saying. So we would have that. So now we went through the walk. Now we go home. Home is where you would actually score your victory points and so on. We would flip this over. Let's give these folks some victory points. Let's say, oh, hey, I'm not winning anymore. This is going to go to the next player around the table. You're going to flip over a new location card. We already have the dogs lined up for our next round. And now this would be the special effect that's in place for this turn. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to do that through 4 rounds. And whoever has the most reputation points at the end of the game is going to be the winner. Now, when you do your final scoring, you're going to have the reputation points you've already earned that you're marked on the track here. Then players are going to be able to score reputation points for the breed expert. You also have reputation points for various different dogs that you have in your kennel as far as final scoring. So, right, so with the toy, with the Japanese chin, you get points for the squeaky toys. So if you had leftover squeaky toys, you would actually just put them on the card there or whatever. And it's different resources on some of them. So you could score those points. So you're also going to get victory points for any 5 of your resources are worth a victory point, and then you have your objective. So if you were able to complete your objective, you will also have the reputation points from that as well. So there's a bit going on here. I know I've had some people refer to this as a medium weight game. I don't think it is, though. I mean, once you understand the very basic mechanics of it, and it's not as if we're looking at, oh my gosh, this is a revolutionary mechanic I have never seen before. No, of course not. It's just, it's various different aspects that we've seen in other games just combined for Dog Park. So let me tell you about some of the issues that I've got. Because remember, when I started this review off, I mentioned how some people are going to love this game. Some people will be like, that's fine. And others will dislike it. So one aspect that some of the players around the table, including me, had pointed out after we'd played it a few times is that it's very difficult for you to plan much because you only know what the next dogs are. You have no idea beyond that. So you can start off like, okay, well, I'm going to try to get utility dogs. And you're just not seeing any utility dogs come out. And then you're like, oh, okay, great. Now, they do indicate, well, 12% of the dogs are terriers, 12% are working dogs out of your big deck of cards. Problem is, half that deck isn't in play. So this percentage, to give you an idea of, what are the odds? Well, half the deck's not in play. And as I mentioned before, it is kind of odd that you've got all of these cards. Plus, you're not going to go through all of these cards in a game. You'll go through about half, depending on the number of players. So we've got that. So that was an issue. And I said, well, what you could do is you could actually draw 8 cards. So you know what dogs are coming up next. So here you're going to do your recruiting, and then these are the next, and then you're going to put 4 more out. So you've actually got a little bit of an idea what is on the horizon without having to have a scout action. So the scouting and swapping, they're effectively helping you as far as, okay, so if you're trying to put breeds together and things like that, yes, You can use the swap, you can use the scouting in order to do that, but it is still kind of an issue that you only have these. So that was a problem that a couple of the players and myself were kind of like, I would like to have a little more planning available to me, because for the most part, you're just kind of rolling with the punches a little bit. Okay, so that came up. Oh, okay, I guess I'm gonna like change. Yeah, gotta change my approach here. So that was something that was, like I said, I would tweak it to do that. Also, with the two-player game, you end up having kind of an AI walker who will actually recruit dogs, although they don't get reputation points. And they go take their dogs for a walk just so they can kind of like take over spaces to force players to spend their reputation points if they want to occupy that same space. But strangely enough, they go last. And there's a die that you'll roll for them to move. So as an example, if I went here and say it's a two-player game and somebody went there and then we roll a 1, okay, and then, well, all right, back around, and then I move, okay, I get a reputation point, and they go here and they do their swap, and we roll for them and they get a 2. So in effect, this is in play to kind of get in the way of the players as they're walking their dogs, and they have to make a decision. All right, so am I gonna pay that reputation point to get the bonus or no? But the thing is, you're usually ahead of it, so it doesn't matter. It just really doesn't matter that this piece is here. Once again, going to make a recommendation. And I know some people just dislike when I'm like, what I would do. But I'm just recommending some tweaks to maybe make the game more enjoyable for people. So the first thing you do is you just move your AI walker first. Roll the die, put them where they're going, and then it's the first player. So now, yes, this is probably going to be in the way at least some point. And then, of course, the first player gets to choose what path that AI goes on. So once again, thought that was a little odd. There's just a couple of small aspects where it's kind of like, if the designers had taken it an additional step, the light probably would have gone on, right? So Kevin King says maybe 8 cards if playing adults, by the rules otherwise to keep adults from dominating other players. Flaming Heron says, well, there really is no reason you can have more dogs, considering the game has so many. Well, you wouldn't want to increase your kennel size. So keep that in mind. It is possible that you won't have the resources to be able to take your dogs for a walk. And if that's the case, you don't take part in the walking phase because you don't have any dogs on your lead. So that is a possibility. Like I said, if you don't have any reputation in order to bid on the available dogs in the field, kind of screwed there. That doesn't happen too often, especially if you inform people, hey, if you don't have any reputation points, you can't get these dogs. So that'll be, made clear to people. You really need to. Fleming Aaron says, but I want more in my kennel. Play me here on. You can play this however you would like. All right. So, all in all, that is Dog Park. So let's swing on over to the other camera. Do want to point out the fine folks over at Birdwood Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. And these days, it's important that you know that. Anthony Good is with us in chat. All right. So what do I think? I think this game is fine. Personally, and I mentioned this as we got into the review, I think this will divide a lot of people. And I think if you're a dog lover, you're going to like this game more than someone who doesn't care about dogs. If you are someone who feels that the Westminster Dog Show is must-see TV, well, then this is probably going to be a must-buy for you. Mechanically, it's very light. And as I had pointed out previously, this makes for a really good gateway game. If you're going to play it as it's designed, it is very, very random. It is very difficult to really put together a solid kind of strategy. Now, yes, granted, you do have the forecast cards that are showing you right up front what's going to be that special little bonus during each of the turns. But it's more about the dogs in the field than anything else. So yes, you do have the scout, you do have the swap. May not necessarily have an opportunity to do it, but we did have a game where it was like every turn, everybody was hitting the swap. So it's like, I don't care. I'll pay a reputation point to swap, even though there's 3 other people on that spot. I don't care. Maybe to dissuade people from doing that, you could have them pay a reputation point for every other walker that's already on that spot when you get there. But I mean, it was fine. Production quality, top notch. Really, really nicely done. Huge kudos to the artists on Dog Park 2. Really, really spectacular artwork. Once again, I mean, if you are a dog lover and you're like, I recognize that breed, this is a game that you're gonna look forward to getting in front of your family and friends. If you are more of a serious gamer, and once again, I'm going to point out, this is being presented by some people out there as being a medium weight game. It's not a medium weight game. This is a lightweight game. If you like more meaty experiences, if you're not a dog fan, if you're like, animals are fine. I don't know. I don't know if I would recommend it for you. Myself, I had a good time with it. Would this come off the shelf again? Yeah. This would be the sort of game that I would play like with my mom. Where it's like, all right, you're not thinking too much, and I don't have to worry. I'm not really going to try to come up with a strategy. It doesn't really matter if I'm even, in the running to win. We're just having a good time playing it. And she'd be like, I like the art. So in the end, on a scale of 0 to 10, I give Dog Park a 6 out of 10. Now, I know there are people out there, 6. Oh, that's terrible. That's a terrible game. Not in our range here. So a 6 is actually still a recommendation for the right crowd. I'm probably not the right crowd for this. But there are a lot of people out there who this would be a great fit for. So, once again, it's one of those mileage may vary sort of reviews out there. But for myself, it's a 6 out of 10. So, Flaming Heron says, at the end of the day, isn't that the most important thing? Having fun? No, winning. Doesn't matter who wins or loses. Why would you keep score? Yes. But I got to be honest. I mean, I prefer to be playing a game where I'm like, damn, you know, you've blocked my strategy. Or yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Doesn't really happen in Dog Park. Once again, you know, it's fine. Alrighty then. So, I would love to show you all the incredible stuff you thought I was going to say that's in the game sale, but no, that is not what I was going to say. Don't forget the summer game sale over at thegaminggang.com is in session. Save some money, help support not only the channel, but the website as well. And of course, get some great games. But I wish I could show you all of the great gaming stuff that has arrived in the past 24 hours. But because I have dog parks set up in that, I didn't have an opportunity to like stack things up. I will show you tomorrow, but it is just wild. Mighty Boards, I got the new copy of Days of Ire with that was not a replacement parts box. Got that. I got the new releases from Paizo. So I'll probably be shooting my preview video tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, because it's not a bunch of stuff. It's only 3 things. Got that. I got a bunch of Dune releases for Dune Adventures in the Imperium from Modiphius Entertainment. I got 6, count them 6, games from GMT. We're taking a look at one of them tomorrow. And something from my friends over at Chaosium Inc. So as I wrap up, tomorrow, this thing is heavy. It's not really going to be a War Game Wednesday, but it's GMT games. It's close enough to being a War Game Wednesday. We're going to dive on in for a first look at Mr. President, which I shared a news piece of last week. So this was one of the 6 that showed up, and this is a big old box. And no joke, this box must weigh 8 pounds. That'd be my guess. Maybe a little more. I don't know. So that's what we're going to take a look at tomorrow. Then on Thursday, we are going to crack open the Pendragon starter set from Chaosium Inc. So a lot of good stuff on the horizon. So we will probably shift a little bit away from as many reviews as I've been doing this month, which really weren't many, but for the most part, it's usually just first looks that we do, at least on the live show. But I am still going to share a live review of the Cyberpunk Red role-playing game from Artel Saurian Games. That will be on Monday's show. Oh, I should also point out, I think it's Lucid Eye Publications sent me Elf King. Isn't it the Immortal? Yeah, the Immortal role-playing game. So this arrived too. So it wasn't in the last 24 hours, but is that dust on that? I guess it is. So I think this is actually published by Amazon because it showed up from Prime. And I was like, oh, okay. So we'll be taking a look. I was wondering why it wasn't. See how it's not like laying closed. Looks like the cover is a little bent. That's okay. I'll just put Mr. President on it. Flatten that out in a sec. So that's what's coming up this week. And of course, as I mentioned, Cyberpunk Red reviewed on, I said Monday, didn't I? On Tuesday's show, a week from today. All righty then. So if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the dispatch, what the dispatch, when my disass, yeah, it'll not only let you know when this ass streams live, it'll not only let you know when the dispatch streams live, it'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as the upcoming Paizo preview for June. But of course, if you're now watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you just won't find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live, took part in chat, big tip of the cap to you. Because you're not only keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company while I'm, rambling on or talking about how to play a game, what have you. But I know not everybody's able to watch this show live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I really do appreciate each and every one of you taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. Right, everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. I'll be back tomorrow with a first look at Mr. President, who somebody had just pointed out real quickly as Agent Especial was in chat with us, popping in. Who was it who mentioned that it's a table hog? I think maybe was it Tessie Trekkie? Pointed out that that Mr. President is a table hog, which we talked about in that news piece, how it looked like it was huge. So, oh, sorry, this is about 92. We will find out. So thankfully, it's not a review where I'm trying to squeeze everything into one shot. So, all righty then. So I'll be back tomorrow. And here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, that's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.